Hey, it's Jess. Welcome back. I'm here with another Way Back Wednesday video where I will be talking about the books that I finished in March of 2020. And looking back at my Goodreads, I had finished 7 books this month, which is a huge improvement over January and February, where I had only finished 2 books each of those months. So I definitely got a lot more reading done in March. Part of that was because of spring break, part of that was because the world decided to shut down for a few months, but who's picking? The first 2 books that I want to talk about are books that I read as part of a book study for my job. And the first of those is Better Than Carrots or Sticks, which is about bringing restorative practices into your classroom and forming relationships with your students rather than using a bribing or penalizing system in your classroom. And I thought it was really interesting. The kids that I work with, it definitely changed the way that I interacted with them, and I definitely saw our relationships change when I started investing in them more than just punishing them or bribing them to do their stuff all the time. Highly recommend that one. The second book study that we did was Belonging Through a Culture of Dignity, which is about bringing inclusivity and diversity into your classroom and recognizing it in your room, in your life, and in your coworkers' lives. So all about being more cultural and and inclusive and diverse in and considering that in the way that we interact with others in our lives. I typically don't rate nonfiction books because who am I to say whether a book was good or bad? But I highly recommend both of these. I thought that they were very insightful. I learned a lot reading both of them, and I'm very thankful that I got to go through that with my coworkers so we could talk through everything that I learned in both of those books. The next books that I read were the first 4 Vampire Academy books. So, if you don't know anything about Vampire Academy, the first one is just called Vampire Academy, and it follows Lissa, who is a vampire princess, and Rose, who is a Dhampir, who is basically a protector to Lissa. And they have been on the run for 2 years, and in that Vampire Academy, they are caught and brought back to the school, the Vampire Academy, where they go to school. And then it kind of shows their lives through that. There is a movie. The movie is not very good. I watch it sometimes just because, it's just a cheesy flick that I like to watch, but I read the book twice. This was the second time I'd read it. I really liked the first one. The second Vampire Academy book is called Frostbite, and it follows Lissa and Rose again and kind of their tangled love lives because they are teenagers. So, of course, there's love and romance involved. And they also go on a ski trip where they are attacked by the evil vampires, which are called Strigoi. This is also the second time I had read this book, and I remember really liking it the first time, and I really liked it the second time. It's just different. You learn about new characters. I liked the change of setting. Overall, I really liked that one. In the third book, which is Shadow Kiss, it is about graduation that is coming up. And so, what will Lissa and Rose be doing after they graduate from the Vampire Academy? But at the end of the book, there is an attack on the academy by the Strigoi. And so Rose has to decide whether she wants to fulfill her duties as a Dhampir and protect Lissa, or if she wants to follow her heart and go protect Dimitri, who is her mentor, but also the man that she has fallen in love with. Uh, this is the first time I had read the third one, and I really enjoyed this one too. I liked the action in it. I thought it wrapped up well. I wanted to keep reading after this one, and so I did. And the next one is Blood Promise. And maybe I had read this one before and the third one because remembering now, I did remember the plot. Dimitri has been turned into a Strigoi and is missing, and Rose is basically on the run looking for him and trying to catch up with him. And I remember really liking this one too. So, looking at my Goodreads and the books that I read, I was definitely reading books that I owned or had borrowed from friends because I couldn't go to the library, the last half of the month. And I wasn't really into checking out ebooks from my library. It's just not something I did very much back then. And I definitely didn't listen to audiobooks back then. So I had a little YA time and read those, and you'll hear about the last two books in the Vampire Academy series in my next video because I did finish them in April. The last book that I finished in March of 2020 was Final Girls by Mira Grant. And I remember that I had been at the library and was just browsing through the horror section, which is what I typically did back then, and just saw this book, had never heard of it, didn't know anything about it or the author, didn't know who Mira Grant was, picked it up and decided to read it. And I later found out that Mira Grant is a pen name for Shauna McGuire, who writes the Wayward Children series. She wrote Middle Game and different seasons, but all of her horror books are written under Mira Grant. And I've actually read a lot of those now, so you'll be hearing about those in upcoming videos, but at the time, didn't know who Mira Grant was. So I picked up Final Girls, and it is about a doctor, Jennifer Webb, who is trying to heal psychological scars by putting clients in like VR kind of scenarios, but they go in like pods, and putting them into horror movies so that they can get change and heal the trauma that they have. And Esther is a journalist who tries to debunk pseudoscience. So she doesn't think that Jennifer's work is going to help her or work or anything like that. So she kind of goes in undercover and goes through one of the simulations. And then it goes from there. And I gave this book 4 stars. I really liked it. I'd like to go back and read it again just because I read it so long ago. I had a lot going on in my mind at the time because of when I had decided to read it. But now that I know more about Mira Grant, Shauna McGuire, and her writing style, I'd like to go back and look at it with not so fresh eyes. But I really recommend this one. I thought it was really enjoyable. So, have you read any of these books? Let me know. What did you think of them? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.